Hi all and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry it's been a while again, but you know, I can't really do anything about that. Today I'm going to be reviewing 3 more of the Etat Libre d'Orange fragrances from my discovery box. Today I'm going to be talking about DIVIN'ENFANT, Noel au Balcon. Sorry if my accent's like so bad. And Rien. Okay, so I'm going to start with DIVIN'ENFANT. Okay, so this is what the full-size bottle would look like. But as you can see, I've just got the little sample because it's from the Discovery set. And all the Etat Libre d'Orange fragrance have like a little tagline, and this one says Orange Blossom, Orange Blossom, Renegade. And the notes in this are orange blossom, marshmallow accord, rose, mocha accord, leather, amber, musk and cold tobacco notes. Now just to start off, I think that my first impression of this fragrance was that it was quite similar to something that Lush would make from their new line of Gorilla perfumes. This reminds me a little bit of Sikkim Girls. It's kind of got that quite earthy fragrance smell, but I actually really prefer this one. It almost smells kind of pine tree. I know that's a really weird way to describe it, but it reminds me of pine leaves and pine cones, but there is that like fire smell coming from the toasted marshmallows, so it does kind of smell like, you know, you sat around a campfire and people are throwing in all sorts of things like leaves and like pine cones and pine trees. I don't know why they would be burning them, maybe just that's all they've got at hand. And then the toasted marshmallows over the top. It's like a really rich, earthy smell, but with a very strong sweetness that is coming from the... sorry I keep wobbling, this is kind of resting on a weird architecture of boxes. Yeah, back to the fragrance. It smells very very gourmand, but the earthy notes balance out. In all, it's a very interesting fragrance, and I really enjoy wearing this one. So next we have Rien, and this one is so great. Oh, sorry, I should have mentioned the last fragrance. Even though obviously all of Etat Libre d'Orange's fragrances are unisex, I'd say this one probably more women than men. I'd say that this one's targeted more towards women, and I can see a woman wearing this very easily. I mean, you know, if you're a man you want to wear this, wear it, but I think it's definitely targeted more towards women. Whereas this one I think is targeted more towards men, even though I very much like to wear it. The tagline for this is nothing is everything, and the notes in this include incense, rose, leather, citrus, oak moss, patchouli, amber, cumin, black pepper, and aldehydes. I don't know why I've really struggled to read. Never learnt to read. This fragrance is so unusual. The rose in this is very, very strong, but what I actually get from this fragrance, and this may sound really weird and gross, or it might smell interesting depending on, you know, what you think of these notes, but what I get when I smell this is petrol, leather, like a leather jacket, kind of like tar, like a freshly tarred road. What else? Yeah, petrol, leather, tar. I don't know, it kind of just reminds me of like a petrol station. Those 3 notes are very like strong to me, even though obviously I think it's mainly the rose is making, it's very like deep, rich, kind of almost peppery rose, and that's mixing with the oak moss, I think. And then there is black pepper in it, so it's probably those notes that are making that weird kind of tar leathery petrol or gas if you're American, that kind of smell. I actually like to call this my, sorry, the car's just gone past. I live on a main road. I like to call this my James Dean fragrance because it's so rebel without a cause. I can probably imagine like a greaser from the 50s wearing this fragrance. It's absolutely wonderful. Again, I think it is more targeted towards men, although I do wear this. But I would say that, you know, that's probably just because I associate those kind of notes with men, which is probably, you know, really backward of me. But I think this would smell really amazing on a man, or like a woman like could completely pull this off if she had the right kind of attitude, definitely. I really like wearing it. Yeah. So the third fragrance I'm going to be reviewing is Noel au Balcon, and that's what the bottle looks like. Oh wait, I should... Oh, it doesn't show you what the bottle looks like, but I'm guessing it's just a plain one like that. This one is plain again. The tagline for this one is, "This girl is a gift for wise men." And so I'm guessing from the title it's kind of to do with Christmas. You know, wise men kind of remind me of the three wise men in the nativity story. And the notes in this are tangerine, vanilla, honey blossom, orange blossom, apricot, red pepper, patchouli, musk, citrus, cinnamon and nigella. So already it's sounding like a very kind of sweet fragrance. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of this on just because it's not one that I wear very often, and so I'm not all too familiar with it, so I'm just going to try and remind myself of what it smells like. Yeah. Oh, this is wonderful. This kind of reminds me of like Christmas candles. You know, sometimes you get those ones that smell like mulled wine and things like that, kind of very rich and spicy. Also you can get the kind of vanilla-y, creamy ones that have kind of it's like myrrh, like a myrrh smell. It kind of reminds me of that. I can definitely smell the honey. The honey in this is very strong in the vanilla. It's not a candied vanilla at all. It is more like just to kind of add a little bit more of sweetness to the honey. So it's a sweet honey fragrance, and then you've got that kind of like almost berry like a spiced berry kind of smell that you'd get from mulled wine, or also, you know, kind of Christmas air fresheners and candles and things that they advertise around Christmas time. I'm not really... Oh no, I'm getting the apricot. There is a little bit of apricot there, and as well, I think that really works well with the vanilla and the honey. I don't really think that it's not a particularly strong fragrance, even though you know, I would usually associate that kind of mulled wine smell with being really strong. But I think the citrus and the vanilla and honey, and probably the tangerine and the orange blossoms, all keeps it very kind of light, even though you would typically kind of associate this with, like, you know, winter and heaviness and a little bit of gourmand. It is still quite a light fragrance. I can imagine you could probably overdo this, but you know, if you just kind of wore a little bit, it would definitely smell very kind of sweet and yet refreshing during the winter months. It has got the cinnamon in, which again I think is what is adding that spice to it, but it's not an overly kind of gourmandy autumn fragrance like for example Tilda Swinton's like this, which is another Etat Libre d'Orange fragrance. That was very heavy on the kind of I don't know if there was actually cinnamon in it without looking at the notes, but it was a very kind of baked goods spicy autumn fragrance, and this one kind of has a hint of that, but it's not too overwhelming. The cinnamon just gives it that kind of Christmassy, again, that Christmassy kind of feel, like you get from the mulled wine. It's, you know, kind of like a mulled wine with cinnamon in it, and again that's probably because around Christmas they make those candles, those mulled wine candles with cinnamon in it, and that's probably why this is reminding me so much of Christmas and things, as well as the title. But I'd say of the three, this is my least favourite, but I do still really like it. I'd definitely imagine this on kind of a I'd say this one's more targeted towards women again, and I can imagine this on quite a more mature lady, and very glamour. It's a very glamorous fragrance, definitely. yeah, I can just, for some reason I just picture a kind of older, mature woman with kind of blonde hair and a lot of kind of gold jewellery on, and very glamorous, very kind of tall and slim. That's what kind of a person I picture when I smell this fragrance. Just like with Rien, I picture James Dean, like Rebel Without a Cause, or Danny from Greece, or, you know, whoever else, kind of the big quiff hairstyle. And with DIVIN'ENFANT, it's more that kind of like hippie-ish, lush thing. But again, I'd say that this one is more unisex than Noel or Balcon, but I'd say both of these are more targeted towards women, whereas Rien is for more targeted towards men. But definitely try all three of these out. I've really enjoyed them. I'd say my favourite of these is maybe DIVIN'ENFANT's my favourite, followed closely by Rien, and then Noel or Balcon finally. So thank you very much for watching. I will be hopefully doing some more fragrance reviews on Etat Libre d'Orange fragrances. I do have 2 full-size bottles. I've only got one, but I've got another one coming to me in the post, so that should be here next week. And so I'm probably going to wait to review those when I move, because I'm going to take those with me. I'm moving in 2 weeks to another country. I'll tell you when I get there. And yeah, so I'll wait to review them, but I'll keep reviewing my samples hopefully before then. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Ciao!